When it comes to chocolate chip cookies, people usually fall into one of two camps. There's the thick and chewy camp and the thin crisp camp. I've always been from Camp Crisp, so I'm excited today that Morgan's going to show us how to make them.
Yes, I'm so glad you're from thin and crispy camp. I actually am usually all about thick and chewy cookies, but this recipe has converted me. It's my go-to cookie recipe. In developing it though, we learned there's a lot of tricks to get the ultimate thin and crispy cookie. And one of those was starting with cake flour. To that, I'm gonna add 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda and 3/4 teaspoon of salt. So I'm just gonna mix it in by hand. So one of the other really important things we found with this was starting with melted butter. And you can see it's already a little bit cooled. You wanna start with melted cooled butter. So this is 8 tablespoons of melted cooled butter, and I'm gonna add it to the stand mixer. And then to that, I'm gonna add 1/3 cup of dark brown sugar and 1/3 cup of white sugar. So I'm gonna mix these on low until they just come together, and then increase the mixer to medium high and mix it until it's just lightened a little bit in color. It'll only take about a minute. All right, so it's lightened a little bit in color. Might scrape it down real fast. So now we're gonna add 2 egg yolks. And I'm also gonna add 1.5 tablespoons of whole milk. The really wet batter helps it to become extra thin.
Okay.
And then I have 2 teaspoons of vanilla, which is just for good flavor. And I'm gonna mix these on low until they're nice and combined. Okay, and now it's time to add back that cake flour mixture. So I'm gonna add this with a mixer on low. I'm gonna be really careful to not over mix it, because that's when you can make for a tough cookie. So you can see how it's just coming together and not all that flour is incorporated, but I'm gonna do the last little bit of mixing by hand because I really don't wanna overwork it, because we really want crisp and light. And then on to the most important part of a chocolate chip cookie, chocolate chips.
They're little.
These really help keep the cookies low and flat. So I have 3/4 cup of mini semi-sweet chocolate chips, and I'm gonna add these in. And similarly, I don't wanna overwork the dough at this point, so I'm just gonna mix it in by hand. So those look nicely incorporated. And on to portioning.
All right.
So I have 2 sheets here.
I get to help.
Yes, before you get going, I'm gonna spray your tablespoon measure with some nonstick spray.
Aha.
And that'll help get it out a little more easily, because you can see it's a really sticky batter. It's about a heaping tablespoon each cookie. So I'm only gonna put 8 on a tray. So I'm gonna go ahead and portion them out. And before we bake, you actually wanna press the cookies down to about a 1/2 inch before you start baking. And that really just gives them a little jump start. So
With your fingers?
with your fingers, yep. So you can dip them in water.
Okay.
And then you just wanna press them out to a 1/2 inch tall.
1/2 inch tall.
I always just check the first one, and then after that, just kind of eyeball the rest.
It's okay if the top of the cookies get a little wet?
Yep, it's totally fine.
Those look pretty good.
Yes. We're actually gonna bake 1 tray at a time. I'm gonna bake these at 350 degrees. I'm gonna rotate them halfway through. It'll take about 17 minutes. We want them golden brown all over, not just at their edges, because we want them crispy all over. Julia, these cookies smell so good.
Ooh, look at those.
I know, you can see how much they spread in the oven.
They're perfectly flat.
And you can see how they're deep golden brown all over, not just on their edges. You actually want to let it cool on the sheet 20 minutes. It finishes baking in that time, and it really firms up and gets really crispy in the center.
That makes sense.
All right, so I'm going to put this batch in the oven while these finish cooling. All right, Julia, it's time to dig in.
Is it pick your cookie?
Pick your cookie.
I'm gonna pick this one.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you could go wrong though.
And I've got milk for you.
I thank you.
Yes.
All right, the first test. Ooh, I like it.
I know.
No bending at all. It just broke right in half.
I know, you can hear it snap.
Yep.
Yeah, you can taste the brown sugar.
You know, and I thought it was a lot of salt and a lot of vanilla, but it's a very flavorful cookie.
I know, it's got a little bit of that salty sweet thing going on. With the little mini chocolate chips, you get so many chocolate chips per bite. I always try to maximize ratio of chocolate chips per bite of cookie, so it's really getting me there.
Morgan, these are terrific. Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
If you want to make the ultimate chocolate chip cookie that's thin and crisp, add melted butter along with both white and brown sugar. After incorporating egg yolks into the dough, add a splash of milk along with cake flour and mini chips. Portion the dough into cookies using a tablespoon measure, and be sure to let them cool completely before eating. From Cook's Country, the ultimate recipe for thin and crispy chocolate chip cookies. You can get this recipe and all the recipes from the season, along with our tastings, testings, and select episodes at our website, cookscountry.com/TV. All right, Morgan, I'm ready for another cookie.
Yeah, me too. I'm almost there.
Thanks for watching Cook's Country from America's Test Kitchen. So what'd you think?
Leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or just say hi.
Now you can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
Alligator.